if our,
You think Andy's gonna log in?
is she?
You'll be like, this is a proper building plan. I think
It's like showing that there's no meeting going on. Okay,
So we're,
okay.
oh, I guess, so we're live, we're on?
Yes,
Okay.
it's live.
Okay, good evening. Welcome to the February 1st meeting of the Hamilton Zoning Board of Appeals. Our agenda is the following. Public hearing for property at 140 Echo Cove Road. Owner William Howe, seeking relief from zoning bylaw 5.3.3 to raise an existing single-family dwelling and build a new dwelling which will exceed the volume, area, or original footprint of the original non-conforming structure. Secondly, public hearing for the property located at 57 Gregory Island Road. Owners Jenny LeBou and Josh Boggle. Applicant on their behalf, Robert Sholey. Applicant is seeking a variance relief from zoning bylaw for dimensional and density regulations for rear and side yard setbacks in order to construct a deck at the rear of the dwelling. And then we have board deliberations on applications submitted by Harbor Light Community Partners for a comprehensive permit under, excuse me, Chapter 40B for the construction of a 45-unit multifamily housing property at 466 Highland Street, owned by Britton Family Trust LLC. Public hearing opened on April 6, 2022, continued until closed on January 4th, 2023. Board will review the conditions of the decisions on the decision, and spoiler alert on that, we will be deliberating, but special counsel for George Pucci for the board on this matter has been ill, so he was unable to provide us with a draft decision to review, so we won't be voting tonight, but we can discuss it, discuss possible conditions, etc. But we will be continuing it to our March meeting for further deliberations and possible vote. First item, 140 Echo Cove Road. Is there anyone here for that or in the Zoomosphere?
Can you hear me? This is Bill Howe calling in from 140 Echo Cove Road.
Yes. Okay. Tell us, Mr. Howe, what you're proposing.
Well, we purchased the property in summer of 2020, moved here from Minnesota to be near our grandchildren who live nearby. And the property had two small houses on it, a 700 square foot cottage and a roughly, let's call it 1,200 square foot, what we refer to as the big house. Our intention was to just, we knew they're in bad shape. Both buildings were in disrepair, and we thought we could just quote unquote fix them up. And the cottage ended up in a complete takedown and rebuild, and it is now complete. And as we moved into fixing the quote unquote big house, I've been stripping the sheetrock and insulation and all the things out of the house in anticipation of fixing it up. And when talking to my builder, Mike Broderick of Broderick Construction, he said, we can repair this thing, but you'd be much happier if we just, well, you know, start it over, take it down to the foundation and start it over. So I said, okay. Had the idea that it would be very nice if we could leave the foundation and the basement footprint completely intact, but add a small cantilever on the front and the back of the house to just gain a few square feet, because it's a small cottage. So the proposal is to cantilever 18 inches on the east side, which faces Chabaco Lake, and 12 inches on the street side to, you know, basically overhang the first floor over the basement. So gaining us 2.5 feet of overall length from street side to lakeside. So I've prepared some drawings and things in the application, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So the proposed dwelling would meet the required setbacks? Is that 15 feet on? That's a question.
Well, the foundation doesn't change, so I'm not sure how that impacts the answer to the question.
I mean, he's 18 feet off of this corner.
Okay,
22
so-
feet off of this corner.
So it's an extension, not a variance?
It's
Okay,
it's literally a foot.
okay.
Yeah, so we don't want to upset the foundation. We don't want to do any digging. We realize we're in close proximity to the shoreline. We went through the Conservation Commission process, and they effectively okayed this as long as we don't disrupt the foundation or expand the foundation at all. So we're going to keep the foundation, which is basically lots of big rocks with cement holding them together. Rebuild the basement just as it is, but when we get to the first floor, there'll be a little overhang on the front and the back.
Okay, questions from any of my colleagues? Now, I know you were we issued a decision a year or so ago regarding the other dwelling that's on the property. Without, just do you have other, at this point, do you have other projects, construction projects in the pipeline?
No, I'm broke.
Okay. Okay.
I never anticipated this level of
I guess we could make it a
complexity,
condition.
so
stay broke.
I'm done after this one.
Okay. Okay. Are there any questions from members of the public, either here in the room or on?
Don't allow us to post in this construction.
Oh, hello? I thought I heard something.
Probably back.
Okay, anyone on the Zoom that has any questions? If not, it seems fairly straightforward. If there aren't any further questions or issues, I would entertain a motion to grant the extension of a non-conforming use under section 5.5.1.3. Just for the record, I guess I should just note that we got the building inspector, Richard Maloney, just said the property is in the R1A zone. It is non-conforming as to use, has 2 residential structures on the lot. The applicant proposes to voluntarily demolish and rebuild the structure with a modest increase in square footage. A special permit under 5.5.1.3 is required. And just so people know, 5.1.3 5.5.1.3 says that if the building commissioner determines the proposed changes exceeds one or more of the criteria set forth above, the zoning board of appeals may, by finding, allow such change when it determines that the proposed modification will not be substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming structure to the neighborhood. So that's what we're voting on. So I would entertain a motion to grant the special permit.
Motion to grant special permit.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, the procedure from here is I have 14 days to write and file a decision with the town clerk. From the date that it's filed with the town, you'll get a copy of it. From the date that it's filed with the town clerk, there's a statutory 20-day appeal period that has to run. And after that does, you can get your building permit. You should get a certified copy of the decision from the town clerk and record it at the Registry of Deeds, and then you can go ahead with your project.
Thank you, gentlemen. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
All right. Okay, next we have, just get my, public hearing for the property at 57 Gregory Island Road. I believe the contractors are here, so tell us what's being proposed here.
We're proposing to expand on the deck that they have now. At the closest point to the variance line, it'll be, I think it's 6 feet, and then the greatest distance would be like 11.4, around 11 feet to the property line. 35 feet by 12.
We have you speak to the microphone.
I'm sorry?
He wanted me to move over to the microphone.
Oh, yeah, okay, okay. So there is an existing deck now, is that?
Yes.
Is that what's labeled the three-season porch?
No, it's next to that, actually.
Like, you barely see it, it's right underneath.
It's hard to see in that.
Yeah, well, can you show it? Come on, you
Yeah.
can,
So 3 seasons, it's like pretty much, it's right, they don't show it here. It's like right here, right now, and it's like, I think they have a line right there.
Yeah,
So it's
you can
right there
barely make out the line.
to there. That's what it is right now, and there's a set of stairs that go down. We would propose to build the deck out like this.
okay,
back
so,
into the home.
so how, it's hard, I guess my real question is, how close is to the property line is the
About 6.5 feet right there, and 11.6.
existing?
When I add on to it, what we're proposing to add
But
on.
how close is the existing
The stairs go into it a little bit. I had the building inspector out there with me, going over it. The stair, it encroaches into it a little bit.
14.9 for the existing deck.
Okay. That's important for, well, it's important in terms of what, provisions,
9 by 12, I think.
what provisions you're coming onto. Okay, I guess, so, we did get, again, just so it's clear to me and everyone in the public, from the building inspector, the applicant applied for a dimensional variance, as I advised them to do after a site visit regarding a building permit application we received for a deck expansion. We also requested a certified plot plan to confirm setbacks. The certified plot plan shows the existing deck and stairs encroached into the rear setbacks. The dimensions to each are 14.9. Building permit was issued in 1997. Under MGLA Section 7, the deck and stairs became legal non-conforming after 6 years. With this new information, the relief to be granted is under 5.3.4.5. 5.3. 3.4, okay, that's actually the last one I read the wrong section, but this is important because if you recall the Belalta case that we discussed last May, my reading of it, this is not any longer, because there is an existing nonconformity, it's not a variance request. And we do have the authority under that case and under the bylaw to increase the nonconformity, which traditionally we hadn't done. Doesn't mean we have to, but just so it's clear. So, are there any questions from
Those are just photos that I presented to the board to show that there's no houses anywhere near, like it wouldn't encroach onto anybody's land, like land that they actually use. It's the closest house is over 200 feet away.
Okay. Are there any questions from members of the board? Are there any questions or comments from members of the public, either here in the memorial room or on Zoom? No? I don't have any questions, so that I'm, I think, it's an extension of a non-conforming use. If there are no further questions or comments, I would entertain a motion to grant the special permit as requested under 5.3.4.5.
I motion to grant, it's 200 feet from anybody else's property, it's not going to, like you say, it's not going to impede somebody else.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further questions or comments? If not, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, you heard my little spiel to the last gentleman. I'll file a decision within 14 days, 20-day appeal period, then you can build their deck for them, but they should record a copy of the decision.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Just before we move on, just to clarify the record on the last matter, 140 Echo Cove Road, I misspoke. We actually approved it under 5.5.1.3. Which is it says, in the event that the proposed reconstruction would cause the structure to exceed the volume or area of the original non-conforming structure, or cause the structure to be located other than on the original footprint, a special permit shall be required from the Zoning Board of Appeals. In the case of a voluntary demolition, the special permit shall be obtained prior to such demolition. So just so the record's clear, that's the provision that we handled this under.
Hi, this is Bill Howard one more time. I believe that it's 5.5.3. That was from Mary Ellen.
It's 5.5.1.3.
Okay,
It's a subsection of 5.5.1, so
okay, thank you.
doesn't change the outcome, but we just want a clear record, so.
Understood, thanks.
Okay, so then that leaves us with the hearing on 466 Highland Street, the 40B. We had heard from member Bruce Gingrich that he would be attending by Zoom, but he is not with us yet. And,
I see him now.
oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And have we heard anything from member Philip? No, and she usually, if she's going to be on Zoom, so something with too young Baron, things might have come up. So, okay, we have a quorum. We have all of our members that will be voting on this present. As I said earlier, we will be deliberating but not voting because we don't have a draft decision to review. But if we can discuss, well, first, I guess the first item would be, is there anyone that, I shouldn't presume that we're going to vote in favor of this. Is there any member of the board that feels that we should deny the permit under 40B? Okay, hearing none, I think we can go on the assumption that we will be approving the 40B, so we can discuss possible conditions. Does anyone have any conditions at this point that they'd like to see included in the decision?
I'll add for the conditions, as we discussed in the last meeting, the planting of more evergreens, and it looks like it was brought forward that there's also some other areas based off these pictures that show it's pretty apparent you can see. So this email came from Patrick. Looks like the request is photo from the side of our house at Unit 6 on the abutter's property, so they'll need to plant some more evergreens to help block off that side.
Okay. Bruce,
That's my biggest concern too.
Okay, so screening. Stephen, anything in particular at this?
I don't have anything to add, no.
Okay. I don't know, this, I guess maybe is a design change rather than a condition, but the plans as presented had the trash removal on the, I'll call it I'll call it on the side nearest Canterbrook. While that was the druthers of the applicant, they seemed to indicate that it would not be overly burdensome to essentially flip it. I'd like to see it flip to the other side, since there wasn't any reason presented why they couldn't do it that way.
Okay,
So,
I'll agree to that.
okay, so,
I was also wondering if, I don't, with the cut and fill of this project, this big project going in, if wouldn't be a problem of maybe berming a little bit between the two properties, between Canterbrook and the new place, to berm up the land. I don't know if that would affect water flow or anything like that, but maybe that would help also create a visual block between the two.
The difficulty with that may be that if you attempt to berm, you're then taking the vegetation that's in that area and effectively having to remove it. Because if you're mounding soil up where existing trees are, those trees need to be able to continue absorbing oxygen as well as water.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, I was just thinking if it could be with, not in the tree line, but on the 40B property.
Yeah, on that side.
But I don't know if there's enough room there for it.
I mean, they had a path that ran along the side of the tree line. So the question would be, are we now affecting more of the construction, more of the path?
Yeah.
I get, maybe, I don't object to that in principle, but I can see, I don't know, that the law of unintended consequences could apply. Maybe between now and our next meeting, our peer reviewer could say, well, geez, you do that, it's going to lead to,
Yeah,
so see what consequences there might be.
If I remember correctly too about that, the lanes on both sides are intended for fire access to the rear. There's tight space between the trees and the building, so if you did berm up that side,
Okay.
you might also interfere with the fire lane.
Especially if there's snow
Okay.
plows, if they push snow up there, now you've limited the access even more.
Okay.
That's my only-
We'll have the peer reviewer perhaps check it out for us. Patrick, you were going to, I know there's been some back and forth about possible sidewalk.
Right.
And where does that stand?
I don't have an engineered number yet. The DPW director is preparing a conceptual number for us. As soon as I can get that, I will share that with the board as well as with the applicant.
Okay. There are a number of items that I know will go in, we talked about, that will go into the decision that, I guess, let's see, things like, I think, test pits in the spring.
Yep.
There are some other items that we've discussed over the course of the hearing that I think will get, I assume will get put in the draft decision. It's a little hard to, I don't have them all off the top of my head, but that's an example. Obviously, I mean, a sort of a general condition, we've gone on the assumption that, that for, say, where the land, that they have the right to use the land and that they have the approval of, that they have the approval of who people like Essex County or Greenbelt. I know there are disputes over what those approvals mean, but we want to be sure that, I mean, that's a condition that those things are provided as part of the decision, so. Anything else at this point from members of the board? Okay, without the draft decision, I think we're a little at sea, and, well, we could.
One thing that I did want to bring up as a housekeeping matter, I think the period that allows the decision to be made within is 60 days. And we started, I guess that was on January the 4th, this hiccup with George not being able to be here tonight and not having been able to provide us with the decision makes me want to recommend to the board that we ask the applicant for at least a 30-day extension.
Certainly, you know, I can't get enough of this. No, that sounds reasonable, and I think, you know, the applicant has certainly been, you know, reasonable on these up to now. I mean, I don't know, you know, we may, looking at the calendar, I don't know if 60 days takes us past our March meeting or not, but a 30-day extension, if needed, would certainly be helpful. So, so you'll let us know. So,
February weren't one of these months, we might not have made the 60.
yeah, it's possible. I mean, so anyway, so okay. Well, I think, you know, we've identified some issues. I think until we have a draft decision to review, we really can't do anything else. So I think we should continue this to our March meeting, which would be March, I don't have my calendar.
First.
March 3rd?
First.
First, oh, okay, to March 1st, and I guess as we've taken a vote on these, so is there a motion to continue the hearing on 466 Highland Street to March 1st, 2023?
Do you want to go or I'll go?
Bruce is here.
Oh, Bruce.
Okay, Bruce.
I'll motion to move to be able to move that to March 1st.
Okay.
I second.
It's been moved by Bruce Gingrich, seconded by David Parenchief, because this is, one of our members is on Zoom. This will be a roll call vote. So, Bruce?
Aye.
David?
Aye.
Bill Bowler? Aye. Okay, the matter's continued to March 1st, 2023. We don't have minutes to approve at this point. There are no updates from the chair, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I motion that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you for good, and good night.
Thank you.
Yeah.